Jessica Betancourt is the president and CEO of Clem's in Massachusetts, which prides itself as being locally owned and operated since 1949. And Beth Beneke, she's the CEO of Busy Baby out of Minnesota. Her company designs and manufactures baby products. Thank you so much for being here, both of you. Your stories are very important to tell here and to have your voices out there in the midst of this conversation. Jessica, your store was founded by your grandfather 75 years ago. You sell a range of everything. I mean, it touches almost every product SKU you could think of. What do the tariffs, the 90-day pause on some tariffs, and now the even higher rate being put on Chinese goods, what does it mean for you and your business?
So yesterday, before the 90-day pause, I was pretty much expecting just about all of our 70,000 SKUs to have probably price increases of some level. Even US made goods a lot of times have components that come from somewhere else. With the 90-day pause, it kind of kicks the can down the road. It doesn't solve that question. It just makes that timeline for Q3 and 4 that's really important to us. It's going to make that timeline shorter because we don't know what's going to happen in 90 days. As far as the China tariff being increased, we know that there's significant amount of SKUs. I'm going to estimate probably 30+% of those SKUs that we carry in some various categories that are really heavy in China specific SKUs that are going to just see massive increases, and we just aren't quite sure how we're going to handle all of this.
Yeah, not quite sure seems to be the only honest way to answer any of this for anyone. I mean, and Beth, you just recently landed a deal with Walmart and Target. I mean, that's huge for any small business owner. The White House, I say that in the context of how your world has shifted overnight. And what we're hearing from the administration is a celebration of the president's moves here. First the tariffs, and now describing the pause as a stroke of kind of strategic economic genius. We've seen investors seem to be breathing a sigh of relief. Are you breathing a sigh of relief?
No, not at all. The news yesterday almost feels like the nail in the coffin for us.
Tell me why.
I have products in China right now produced, ready to ship. They were supposed to get on a boat yesterday and come to America. And I can't ship them because what would have cost me maybe $30,000 with a reasonable tariff now is going to cost me almost $200,000. And I have to have that money when the products get to customs, and I don't have that, nothing close to that. It's not even reasonable. So I have to leave my goods in China until I figure out some other direction. But what that means is when I run out of stock in 2 to 3 months, I no longer have products to sell and no more revenue coming in, which means I can't pay my bills, can't pay my employees, and everything I have, all of my debt. I have my house leveraged. We have 5 employees. My house is leveraged against our loans for our growth into Walmart and Target. I can't pay those bills. I don't even want to think about it.
Beth, how real is this threat and risk with this? It is just pure uncertainty for you right now. I mean, thinking that you only have 4 months of inventory, that is terrifying.
Yeah, and it's hard to make a decision. You know, we had an idea yesterday after the announcement of, well, maybe we can export to Australia, repackage the products, and then re-import them from there. But because policy changes every 36 hours or so, I don't want to make that decision and make that move only for something else to change in just a couple more days. I'm paralyzed. I can't even make a decision right now. And I'm not the only one. There's thousands of us, small businesses in this exact same position.
Yeah, I mean, Beth, you can't see it, but Jessica's nodding her head at the very same moment. Because, Jessica, one of the stated goals, and I think both of you can speak to this, Beth is speaking to it already, is one of the stated goals of this trade war was to bring more manufacturing back to the United States, have people buy more things from within the United States. Can you do that?
I can speak to that
I
now
mean,
because that's
it would
how I
be
spent most of
wonderful.
my day yesterday was.
Right.
Yeah, but I want both
Yeah,
of you to
I-
respond. Yeah, go ahead, Beth.
I mean, these overnight tariffs just don't even give us a chance to be a realistic pathway for us. For me, I would have to create, if I even found a factory in the US willing to do it that had the right machinery, it would take 4 to 6 months to get the tools made to even start production. And that alone would cost me over $200,000. I don't have the time or money to do that in this moment. We don't have any time to make any adjustments.
Jessica?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think Beth is absolutely correct. There are thousands of other small businesses, whether they're manufacturers or retailers, that do a specific category. I'm super fortunate. I carry products in a wide range of categories, and that helps me in a scenario like this. But if you have that baby store, that toy store, or you are a manufacturer that is bringing your product in from China, you are facing some really difficult decisions right now. And there is just not a pathway for everyone to pivot and change and magically create this manufacturing that doesn't exist today.
Yeah. I could talk to you guys for hours. I really appreciate you coming on and putting voice to this because it's very clear. Consumers are facing the hit, and you are in it with your customers all together in this moment of uncertainty. And I am really sorry that you're in the middle of this and facing this, but thank you for coming on and talking to us about it. I really appreciate it. Karen, if markets are breathing a sigh of relief, so are Republicans, you would have to think. I mean, as Richard Quest had put it, this 90-day window that they have now is exactly where they should have began in trying to renegotiate trade deals. With that in mind, how should Democrats handle this?
Well, a couple of things. I mean, I think as the clip that you first played about the small business owners, the markets, we may be in slightly better territory and we have this 90 days, but Americans are still very concerned. I mean, the chaos and pain of the last week or so is still very much still in the system in terms of what people are feeling. And as we saw last weekend, people are already angry about DOGE. They're angry about a number of things that the president has done. So I think this is a moment for Democrats where we need to galvanize the anger, the fear, the concerns that Americans have. And number one, make it clear, Republicans are doing this. If Republicans in Congress had stood up to Trump last week, we could have avoided some of the worst of what we saw last Friday, where he's golfing and, you know, it felt like America's economy was exploding. And so I think it's really an important, and it's hard sometimes to delineate between the two parties on different issues, but Americans trust Democrats when it comes to things like protecting health care, protecting, a number of the critical services we know are potentially on the chopping block in the budget that's going to get voted on, or the blueprint today. And so I think this is a moment where they can really frame, we're for economic sanity. This president and this Republican Party are for chaos and pain, and they're not being honest with you about what it's really going to take to bring manufacturing jobs back.
Well, I did want to play what we were hearing from business owners, small business owners, because I just spoke with two of them last hour, and the way they talk about what just the uncertainty of this moment has meant for them is very real. Listen to this.
The news yesterday almost feels like the nail in the coffin for us.
Tell me why.
I have products in China right now produced, ready to ship. They were supposed to get on a boat yesterday and come to America. And I can't ship them because what would have cost me maybe $30,000 with a reasonable tariff now is going to cost me almost $200,000. And I have to have that money when the products get to customs, and I don't have that, nothing close to that. It's not even reasonable.
She says she's got 4 months of inventory, and then she might be out. She might be wiped out.
Yeah.
What is that message? What is the message in that to the White House and politicians on both sides of the aisle here?
Well, that message is really clear. I don't know that Donald Trump is very moved by these kinds of stories. He should be for politics. But when it comes to the economy and politics, they're both a confidence game. And if you've got folks like these small business owners, I don't know, they might have voted for Donald Trump, but now they have this economic uncertainty. And that uncertainty affects consumer confidence, and it impacts political confidence in a party. Do these people know what they're doing? And if he can be this erratic, this impulsive, and when is the end of that? I don't think we've seen the end of tariffs. I think you're going to feel those ramifications politically and economically.
That's a really, really interesting way of putting it. It's great to see you, Essie.
You too.
Great to see you, Karen. Thank you very much.